Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randyrhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Okay.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
It's Friday, you bastards. Confefe, everybody. Confefe. Confefe. We learned that this week. It was a brand new word. I bet you it is going to be a Merriam-Webster's. We've already heard from the teachers around the country saying, do you think that in 10 years from now we will have to teach the word covfefe to our students? I say yes. I say it will be, in the at least urban slang, if not the Merriam-Webster. So welcome to it, covfefe. People in covfefe houses should not throw covfefe. I think the spelling bee girl, what did she have to spell? Like Macron or something like that? I don't even know. What the Macron? I can't say. They're going to have to spell covfefe in 10 years. The little kids will. Oh, the little children of the world. They're going to suffer so much from the Trump. But everybody, forget Paris. Ready to dig some coal? All right. I'm ready. Let's dig some coal. So tonight we're gonna party like it's 1899. Oh, better not do that. I'll get copyright infringement again. Oh, you can't even quote the songs anymore. Yes, but Donald Trump is very busy building a bridge to the 19th century. And everybody, it's made out of wood. It's a very exciting time to be alive. So here he was yesterday telling us that the coal mines are starting to open up again. I mean, yeah.
Not only does this deal subject our citizens to harsh economic restrictions.
Harsh. There was no restriction.
It fails to live up to our environmental ideals.
What?
As someone who cares deeply about the environment, which I do,
He does.
I cannot in good conscience support a deal that punishes the United States.
It doesn't.
Which is what it does.
It doesn't.
The world's leader in environmental protection, while imposing no meaningful obligations on the world's leading polluters.
That's us.
For example, under the agreement, China will be able to increase these emissions by a staggering...
Okay, first of all, he's reading it because he doesn't know what he's talking about. You understand this? I mean, this is the first time he read an entire speech. Do you know why? The sciencey stuff is not in his wheelhouse. I mean, he can't figure out how Twitter works. So you just... But this is amazing. I mean, this speech was so full of freaking lies. You know how many fact checks there are at randyrhodes.com? Go look. Go to randyrhodes.com, click on the homework section. It's all free. It's all right there for you. Okay? There are so many freaking fact checks saying that this man lied. I prefer to say he had no idea what he was talking about because, wherever you can cut him a break, he had no clue. You do realize now that China is going to fill the vacuum of leadership left by the United States of America, who was leading the world in renewable fuels. The reason why the coal mines are no longer profitable is because we've discovered renewables, and the price of renewables is so low. It's like, $3 for natural gas. It used to be $10. I forget how they measure it, like millions of metric barrels. There's no way to compete. The price of wind, the price of solar, the number of people working in wind, the number of people working in... And now China is going to take over where we left off because we abdicated, and they are going to sell to the world all their freaking products. We have entire swaths of this country working to make wind turbines, to make the blades, to make the... I mean, we got more people working as turbine technicians than we do in the coal industry. This is not the 1900s. I mean, this man does not know what he's talking about.
Number of years, 13.
Okay, he says China doesn't have to comply. No one had to comply. This agreement was voluntary. You understand? This agreement was a pledge from 200 countries around the world. What would they do if if America decided to lead the world and say, let's set a goal. Let's set a goal of not increasing the temperature of the earth, and reducing the temperature of the earth by taking out the carbon from the atmosphere. We could reduce the temperature rise and actually reverse it. What will you do? And 200 countries came to the table. You know why? Not only because they can't breathe, not only because the air is so freaking dirty in China, not only because the people of China, no, because there were new markets to be created. It was $19 trillion worth of a marketplace that we just ceded to the rest of the world who does such a thing. It really would have made the world $19 trillion richer. And now the world will get richer without us. This is ridiculous. And who is going? Already I said this yesterday. I said, who's going to negotiate with him? Because he said, he offered a little fig leaf and said, okay, we'll renegotiate it. Immediately as he uttered those words, Germany, China, France, they all came. Everybody said, this cannot be renegotiated. We are not interested in renegotiating it. No, it's just tragic what he did, ceding the leadership of the world. Fine, there's a vacuum. China says they'll fill it. India says they'll fill it. And they will. You look at the meetings that are going on right now. Merkel's already met with the Prime Minister of India. China's already said, don't worry, we got this. We'll fill the vacuum. We'll make the products and we'll sell them around the world. Don't worry. I mean, President Xi, who, has played this man, played him. Because like I said, the rest of the world is playing three-dimensional chess. This president isn't even playing checkers. He's playing hopscotch. For those of you who were raised in Brooklyn back in the day, he's playing Scully. Do you know that game? Street hockey, Scully? You don't know Scully? Okay. Okay, it has to do with bottle caps. You melt wax in them. Everybody has a color. No? Okay. Very low tech. Very fun. Very low tech. Anyway, that is the game he is playing. Xi is like celebrating. He's going, I didn't think it would be this easy. I swear to God. That's what the Chinese president said. I did not think it would be this easy.
They can do whatever they want for 13 years, not us.
Not us. That's a lie, because we could do or not do whatever we wanted to. It was a new marketplace. So now, check this out. If Germany innovates, if China innovates, if France, Macron was on television last night speaking in freaking English. And do you know what he was saying? He was saying to our best engineers, he was saying to our best science minds, he was saying to our best technologists, he was saying to Silicon Valley and anybody who felt that this president just left America behind, he was saying in English, he actually said, why don't you come here? Work for us. We value you. We want you. We will bring you into to Europe. We will get you visas. We'll get you work. Come work for us. The whole world has put out an invitation to anybody, because what's going to happen is, if China innovates or Germany innovates or France innovates, these are their products. They will make the money. And so now if we want to innovate, there won't be any private-public partnerships. There's not. Meanwhile, I got to say, our governors, our mayors, our cities, our states, leaders of the world, religious leaders of the world, the Pope is like shaming this man, saying, forget you. Okay, you want to be left out of this whole new marketplace. You want to be left out of the future. Fine. You want to go back to the past. You want to go to the 1900s. You want to, fine with, we will invent, we will patent, we will sell. He is so stupid. And he has the best words, he said. So I'm just taking a cue from him. He has the best words. He knows the best words. He said you just can't beat the word stupid. So let's take, what he said and make it true. He is stupid.
India makes its participation contingent on receiving billions and billions and billions of dollars in foreign aid.
Okay, that's a lie. India and China have just decommissioned all these coal-fired power plants because they see opportunities to grow their economy based on a new marketplace of renewables. He just made this crap up. Whoever wrote this for him, made this up. You got to guess it was like, Jason Miller and Stephen Miller and all the Millers and all the Cohns, and that Trump just read it with a live assist from Bannon. Really. And you know who was in the audience? You know that polite golf applause he got? You know who that was? White House staffers. That's who was in the audience.
From developed countries. There are many other examples, but the bottom line is that the Paris Accord is very unfair at the highest level to the United States.
Oh, God.
Further, while the current agreement effectively blocks the development of clean coal in America,
it does not.
Which it does.
It does not.
And the mines are starting to open up.
The mines are starting to open. All right, let's look at the mines. Okay, he's right. A coal mine is opening soon. Acosta coal mine in western Pennsylvania is going to open. It's called Corsa Coal, and it will create 70 new jobs. 70. Congratulations. He just pissed away a chance at $19 trillion in a new renewable marketplace where the whole world was going to participate. So he could create 70 new coal jobs in western Pennsylvania. Well, I'm happy for the 70 guys. Very happy for you. Because really, who doesn't want to suit up and go underground and risk black lung disease without health insurance? And a pension plan that will evaporate as soon as Acosta coal mine closes. I mean, who wouldn't want to trade $19 trillion worth of innovation, across the world for 70 coal mining jobs? I came. It's one mine in western Pennsylvania. It's going to employ 70 people. If he manages to carry Pennsylvania again, it will probably be by 70 votes, is what I'm guessing. Hey, while we're bringing coal back from the dustbin of history, let's bring back muskets and spittoons. Let me put on my whalebone corset and bounce my boobies. It's Friday. Quick, get me my wax cylinder. Seriously, you would have better luck trying to bring back silent movies, because at least like the hipsters in Portland who are in for a rough weekend this weekend, the alt-right's having their rally out there. But the hipsters might actually love black and white movies or silent movies. You know what I mean? You could find a market for them. They're crazy for the burlesque stuff right now. I can't explain it. But, Cole, and everything he said here, everything he said, this prohibits us from clean coal development. It does none of those things. This man is a world heavyweight champion liar. It's not true. None of it.
For a commercial-free, on-demand, whenever, wherever listening experience, visit RandiRhodes.com for your personal premium podcast today.
Hey, gold's on sale. Oh, yes, it is. Gold is priced well below its historic highs. You know the old investor saying, buy low, sell high? Well, stocks, they're selling at an all-time high. So now is a really, really great time to add a little gold to your portfolio. And all you got to do, call my friends at ITM Trading today at 1-888-OWN-GOLD and ask them for a free gold kit. Just learn about the different golden opportunities that are available through ITM Trading. They've helped tens of thousands of people navigate the precious metals market, and they have the best reputation in the industry. It is where I buy my gold, and I do buy gold. ITM Trading has a wide range of gold and silver products that have been created by mints located around the world. The ordering process, super quick, very easy. Products are securely delivered to your home or office, and a 100% guarantee is offered that all the products are 100% authentic. Now, if you've been thinking about buying gold, this is the perfect time. It's on sale. Gold is on sale, but with everything going on in the economy, who knows for how long? Call 1-888-OWN-GOLD, 1-888-OWN-GOLD.
I'm Rick Smith, and this is Labor History in 2. On this day in labor history, the year was 1916. That was the day that John Grina, an Italian immigrant miner, walked out of the St. James Mine in Aurora, Minnesota. The mine was part of the Mesabi Iron Range, the richest deposit of iron ore in the United States. The Mesabi Range takes its name from an Ojibwe word meaning Great Mountain. John Grina was frustrated with the long hours and low pay in the mines. Soon, 8,000 miners joined him on strike. The strike was led by the industrial workers of the world. The workers demanded an end to the contract labor system. Under this system, they were paid for the amount of iron ore they mined instead of a daily wage. This meant that those assigned to easier-to-work mines earned more. To get a good assignment, you often had to bribe the manager with gifts. The workers went on strike to end this system and to fight for the 8-hour day. But the mine owners were determined not to give in. They brought in hundreds of armed guards to oppose the strikers. One miner was killed in a fight at the Oliver Mining Company. At the funeral, mourners marched under a banner that read, "Murdered by Oliver Gunmen." Organizers for the IWW union were jailed. Without the leadership, by September, the strike had ended. Although the strike failed to reach a formal settlement, most of the mines did institute pay raises and the 8-hour day.
From the Monongahela Valley to the Mesabi Iron Range, to the coal mines of Appalachia, the story's always the same.
For more information, go to laborhistoryin2.com, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at laborhistoryin2.
Once I made you rich enough to forget my name.
All things Randy at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, The Randi Rhodes Show.
2.3 million people in America who are working in the clean energy industry. If you look at my state, there are almost 90,000 jobs in clean energy right now. In Michigan, in Ohio, almost 90,000. It is insane for you to say that this is going to devastate the economy if he pulls out, when it's going to devastate the economy if, it is going to devastate the economy if he pulls out. Our states, our country, not leading. The number one job in America right now, the number one job, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, is a wind turbine technician. In Ohio, they're building wind turbines. Scott Walker in Wisconsin just sent out an RFP for biodigesters.
Okay.
We should be building that stuff and sending it abroad.
Okay.
It is insane to allow China and other countries to take the lead.
The American worker gets hurt when energy prices go up. Germany pays twice what we do for electricity because they went off and didn't use the market. We have a fracking revolution that is driving down costs of electricity.
Than coal.
And but I'm not talking about coal. I'm talking about gas, which is lowering emissions and creating jobs and giving us cheaper
natural gas
electricity.
can
That's
be a part of the mix. Don't even say that, Rick. Right now,
all right, last word.
All right, I'm just saying. Right now, China is canceling 107 of its coal plants because why? Solar and wind are cheaper than coal. Same in India.
The debate will continue.
The sun is not reliable. That's what that. I swear to God, the sun is not reliable. Rick Santorum, everybody. Rick Santorum. Santorum was added to Merriam-Webster's, wasn't it? Or was it just added to the Urban Dictionary? Or was it just added to the Dictionary of American Slang? I don't know, but Google Santorum. Google it. Google Covfefe. I mean, the sun is not reliable. This is their argument. Jennifer Granholm, the former governor of Michigan, is trying to explain to you how many millions of jobs have been created in these United States, good-paying, high-paying jobs in the renewable industries of energy, solar, wind, natural gas. She said it's a bridge fuel. It's part of the mix. All that, even nuclear, for God's sake. And that coal has gone by the wayside like whalebone. Okay, it's just not used anymore. Hemp rope. Let's bring that back. Seriously, and she's trying to give him the numbers, and the only argument they have is the sun is not reliable. I mean, when that's your argument, you're so screwed. How do they even show their faces? When are these people going to have anything that resembles shame? Okay, shame is a really, really powerful emotion. It's almost right up there with guilt. It's an offshoot of guilt, which is just an awesome. Use it on your kids. Guilt is good. All right, Fred in Los Angeles.
Hi, Randy. First time, long time. Been listening to you since Air America.
Wow, hi.
What I wanted to talk to you about, I know right now us pulling out of the climate is kind of the big issue du jour, but I've really been wanting to talk to you about this since Sunday. Former Ohio State Senator Nina Turner, she was on State of the Union, and she was talking about, I don't know anyone asking about Russia, Jared, Comey, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And she basically insinuated that if no smoking gun is found soon or almost immediately, that this is going to become like the Democrats' Benghazi. And in your foresight, of which you have plenty, I wanted to ask, do you see that as a possibility, that we're just going to talk about it so much and with no smoking gun, people are just going to quit caring?
No. No, not even close. Not even close. You have, just this one thing, just this one part of it. You have the President of the United States going on the TV with Lester Holt, saying out loud that he fired Comey and that he told that he was going to fire Comey because of the Russia investigation. That right there is obstruction of justice. Whether that was going to show something or not show something, he did that. And that's obstruction, okay? That's just one part of it, okay? It's just one part of it. Thursday at 9 o'clock in the morning, next week, June 8th, Comey is going to testify, and he's going to say that Donald Trump pressured him to end the investigation into Michael Flynn. Michael Flynn has been subpoenaed. His documents have been subpoenaed. He's been subpoenaed as being somebody who violated the law by taking money from foreign governments as an ex-military officer, which you cannot do legally, and refusing to disclose it on his application for security clearance to work at the White House as the national security advisor. Jared Kushner failed to report his interactions with Kislyak on his clearance, on his security clearance form. Jeff Sessions is now being investigated for perjury to the Senate for refusing to tell his experience, his meetings with Kislyak and with the Russians. 3 more meetings came up, and now they're investigating him for perjury. So just right there.
Absolutely. I mean, I agree with you on all of those terms. It's just that I fear the nation's incredibly short attention span. So I kind of was wondering what your take on what she was saying was. Also,
well,
real quick,
listen, I like Nina Turner. I think she's awesome. I really respect her, but I hadn't heard what she said, and so it's hard for me to react to something I haven't heard. But
understand.
But no, this is never going to be Benghazi. Benghazi was, something that happened, because the Republicans didn't want to spend the money on protecting the consulates, and then they needed a fall guy. This is not that. This is obstruction of justice. This is, trying to kill an investigation into Russian meddling. And today, by the way, there's a news report that's making the rounds today that within the very first weeks of the Trump administration, they were looking to take sanctions off of Russia. And the State Department's hair was on fire, and they were running up to Capitol Hill, asking Capitol Hill to codify the sanctions in legislation because Trump was going to reward Russia for invading its neighbors and for hacking our election. And you forget that Russia really did hack into our, not just the Democratic National Committee, but they also hacked into the GOP. And most importantly, they tried to hack into 20 state voter registration rolls, and they were successful in 4 instances.
Putin basically admitted it yesterday. It was all over the news, and some people still refuse to believe it. I can't get over that.
Yeah, I listen, it's really sad. And, Megyn Kelly's got her first show coming up on Sunday on MSNBC, I guess. And she interviewed Vladimir Putin, who is finally admitting that, yes, they might the hacking might have Russian fingerprints on it. But
he called them patriotic citizens.
Well, he said that it was just like an artist. In the morning, they wake up and depending on their mood, they decide to hack or not hack. Now, he's doing this for one of 2 reasons. One, the first reason is bad, but it's not as bad as the second. The first reason could be because he knows that our intelligence community is freaking awesome at this, and that we found fingerprints with, Russian fingerprints on it. Okay. And so he's covering. He's trying to cover. The second explanation is that he's threatening Trump. And he's saying to Trump, you better get these freaking sanctions off or I'm going to spill the beans. And I'm going to say, yeah, we hacked the election. Yes, it came from Russia. And I know who did it. And so does Trump. That's blackmail. That's compromise. And that's what Putin has on our freaking president.
which is the whole reason we didn't want any of this in the first place.
I know.
To have a president who's compromised. Unbelievable.
I know, and not just compromised, but we didn't want to live through all kinds of investigations, and everybody was saying, oh, well, Benghazi, if you pick her, she's so polarizing,
Randy,
they will investigate.
But her emails. Yeah,
her emails, right, exactly.
But just listen, so glad you're back. Thank you very much.
You're
and
welcome.
For God's sake, people, buy a freaking podcast.
Please do.
Podcast.
Yes, or just
keep her on here.
Yes, please. Thank you so much. We really do need it. The first of the month, or the first, everything comes due. All the bills come rolling, all of them. And, it just freaks you out. Every single thing has to get paid in the first week of every single month. So please. Oh, and I must tell you, Judy donated 10 podcasts to people who need them or want them and can't afford them. And then another man who I will call Mr. Fee also donated 10. So Judy's, trickle up. She starts at the bottom, she gives 10, and then she hopes 10 people will give 10, and so on and so on and so on. We did sell some podcasts yesterday to people because we thought if we could sell 90 podcasts yesterday. I did get emails going, at least, only 89 more to go. So, so thank you for that. But Mr. Fee, F-E, I'll just call him that. He has donated 10. So we have 20 to give away, and I will do that over the weekend. Jason in Portland, Oregon. Oh, you're in for a traumatic weekend there.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. So for those of you who don't know, Portland is having the alt-right celebrities, yes, such as they are, the alt-right celebrities are gathering in Portland this weekend. After the knife attack by the alt-right, the city is still allowing for the alt-right to have free speech and have their rally. And they are going ahead on Sunday, despite the fact that their city is grieving because one of their own stabbed 3 people, killed 2, for harassing 2 young girls on a train. I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
No, it's been a nightmare for a lot of us. It's kind of akin to the idea of going and putting the Quran in front of a mosque just to provoke people. We're having this internal struggle right now as a city. We're a liberal bastion, but that also entails being respectful and mindful of other people's opinions. They just chose a really, really bad time to do this, and it's really embarrassing for a lot of people.
They have no class, but more importantly, they have no timing. Yeah.
And so what I wanted to talk to you about is I totally love you, and I've been a long-time listener, and I never, ever disagree with you. But it seems lately that you're really, really mad at the wrong source of this issue. It's not so much Trump. Trump, we know he is a fat, orange, blowhard, evil robot. There's no question about that.
With a orangutan's ass on his head.
Yeah, but we've always known this, and who I'm personally angry at, and who I wake up every morning angry at, are the Trump voters. Not only that, but I feel like the Trump voters had such disdain and such hate for our own nation and the way that we run stuff that they're going to take it out on the rest of us. And I feel like you were mentioning earlier, shame's a powerful emotion.
Yes.
These people should be really ashamed of themselves. And I don't hear anybody complaining about the Trump voters. The Trump voters are the ones who gave us this. And I feel like they need to be brought out of the shadows and spotlighted on them and let everybody know that these specific people in these specific regions and these specific states are the reason this is happening, not Donald Trump. Donald Trump is just doing what he promised he was going to do. And that's all I was going to say. And my other issue is, who is this Rex Tillerson guy? How did he become the Secretary of State? And what is Russia getting out of him being the Secretary of State, except for the fact that he's releasing all the top officials in the State Department, refuses to talk to the media, refuses to let us know what's going on. And I feel like if we're looking for not the government, not the FBI, not some kind of crazy conspiracy, but if we're really looking for what Russia could have gotten tangibly out of the hacking and the supporting of Trump, well, you need to look no further than the State Department. That's all I was going to say, Randy, and I hope you have an awesome weekend, and I'll hang up and let you answer that.
Okay, thanks. The Trump supporters, they're vile. They are. They're vile. They're undereducated, low information voters, and they always will be, and they always respond to strong and wrong. And he was sufficiently strong on things that frighten them. They're scared out of their minds. Like racism, like Mexicans, like, Black Lives Matter, like Jews. You know what I mean? He talked this really racist, horrible game. He also, said he could grab women. And, the guys, out there thought that, this was great. He was going to bring back the 50s and, you would be able to, grab women and whatever. These are the same people. I remember when we were young broadcasters, the big issue was sexual harassment in the workplace. And I used to take calls from these Neanderthals who didn't understand anything about women in the workplace, or how, I was working for a guy back then who, I swear to you, used to have a whiteboard in the kitchen with the C word on it. And he called it the C word, but it was written out there. The see you next Tuesday word was written on the board. It was called the C. I can't say the word, but it was called the C board. And it would have pictures of all the women that worked in the place. And there was nothing you could do about it. There was nothing you could do. You had to seem to go along to get along to keep your job. They didn't understand that was the environment. Well, they didn't understand that there was a CEO of a company I worked for who used to walk down the hallway with a dildo around his neck. I mean, they had no idea. And so they were like anti-sexual harassment in the workplace, and they didn't want equal pay for equal. And the ERA was still fresh in their mind. Why should women be treated equally? We were supposed to be breeders. And I mean, really, it was the Handmaid's Tale, discussion that was going on out there back then. And these are the freaking guys that voted for Trump, wanting to go back to those days. How do we know if we've crossed the line? Well, if you don't know, you've got absolutely no sense of right and wrong. Okay? If you don't know that grabbing a woman's ass who isn't your girlfriend or your wife in the workplace in the kitchen, or having a C-board on the wall, or walking around the hallway with a sex toy around your neck to intimidate women is vile, I can't help you. These are his voters. These are them. So you can blame them all you want. They will die this way.
Clear for takeoff. Randi Rhodes Air Force. Air Force. RandiRhodes.com.
You're listening to WIN, Workers Independent News, a diversified media enterprises production. I'm Doug Cunningham. The Illinois legislature has passed a $15 an hour minimum wage bill that's headed now to anti-union Republican Governor Bruce Rauner's desk. If Illinois adopted the $15 minimum wage, 2.3 million workers statewide would benefit from the desperately needed raise, according to the Fight for 15. Fight for 15 is hailing this as a win. Chicago McDonald's worker Adriana Alvarez says it's impossible to live on McDonald's wages, and she and her kids really need the governor to sign this bill. Trump's Labor Department is trying to block the AFL-CIO and the United Steelworkers from joining a lawsuit to defend OSHA's electronic record-keeping rule in federal court. The unions say in their legal motion to intervene that in this case there is, quote, no guarantee that the government will defend the new rule forcefully in this court, end quote. The unions believe that Trump could weaken the regulation instead of defending it.
We are fully unified on this. We're extremely confident, and we have a really, really solid group of people. I'm thrilled with what we're doing. I'm thrilled with the support that AFT has given us, and we're definitely the first charter school to do this. We're not the first charter school in D.C. to try. We will be the first charter school in D.C. to succeed.
Cesar Chavez charter school teacher Christian Herr says the main overriding issue for teachers seeking affiliation with the American Federation of Teachers is a staff turnover. Other top issues for teachers about to have a union election at this Washington, D.C. charter school are job security and lack of a grievance process. The teachers want a strong voice on the job and a seat at the table on major decisions on curriculum and a range of other education issues. Herr says these teachers built a strong pro-union base in 2 years of organizing, and he said that the key is they started acting like a union before getting to the union election that's coming soon.
There's teachers in similar systems to ours that are thinking about doing the same thing, the number one step and the first thing you got to do is start acting like a union. If you're not already, start supporting each other, look out for each other, build those interpersonal connections with your colleagues. If you get to that point where you're already supporting each other, making the jump to a union is not nearly as big a jump.
Teachers at Cesar Chavez Charter School in D.C. filed their NLRB union election petition on Tuesday. New York City this week provided an example of how politicians passing laws and ordinances can actually benefit rather than attack working people. The city put a Fair Work Week law into effect that guarantees a more predictable schedule for fast food and retail workers. Fair Work Week in New York City ends chaotic on-call work hours and requires 2 weeks' notice on work schedule changes. New York Mayor Bill de Blasio said, "You're going to hear all the projections of how Fair Work Week will destroy Western civilization. Don't believe it. We're convinced that this is a step forward for decency." You've been listening to WIN, Workers Independent News. For more information, visit laborradio.org.
We did it, you bastards! We're live! And it only took 2 years! Okay. All right. So we're back, we're live, and you're there, and we're here, and ain't that great? Now let me just tell you that if you want to listen whenever and wherever you'd like to listen, just go to randyrhodes.com, click on podcasts and swag, and get your podcast commercial-free, on demand, on any device. randyrhodes.com. Open all day, every day. The Randi Rhodes Show is brought to you by our partners at ITM Trading. Call them at 1-888-OWN-GOLD and ask for a free gold kit. 1-888-OWN-GOLD.
The Randi Rhodes Air Force. The Randi Rhodes Show is live on randyrhodes.com and the free Progressive Voices app for Android and iOS. Visit the App Store or progressivevoices.com now.
All right, it's Open Line Friday. Talk about anything you damn well want. Galen in Alexandria, Virginia.
Hi, Randy.
Hello.
Happy freaking Farkas Friday.
Happy freaking You know, Evelyn Farkas has become a regular guest on the MSNBC. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I'm glad for her. She's making some money. That's good.
Good for her.
Okay. All right, so I'm calling to make 2 points. One point is the CNN, the Politico.
Okay.
Is reporting that Trump wants to have a Pittsburgh, not Paris, rally in Lafayette Park across from the White House tomorrow at 10 a.m. It's being sponsored by the Fairfax County Republican Committee and the Republican Party of Virginia, which is fine. Those are fine organizations as far as I'm concerned. But you never know who's going to show up to these things. And, we got Richard Spencer here in Alexandria. And the March for Truth is supposed to be tomorrow as well.
Yeah, the March for Truth, everybody, is all around the United States. There are, on my Facebook page, the Randi Rhodes Show Facebook page, there are events listed for you. So if you go there, you can click on them and see where your March for Truth is tomorrow. Let them do what they're going to do, Galen. Ignore them. They're morons. They spout, philosophies that have died, and have been buried in the ground since the Confederacy was lost. Let them do what they're going to do.
I'm okay, but,
Meanwhile,
you know
what's
Portland.
really interesting? When you look at Pittsburgh, the mayor, Bill Peduto, he reminded Trump last night that Pittsburgh voted 80% for Hillary Clinton. So Pittsburgh instead of Paris, I'm all for it.
Right, that's true. The second thing I want to ask you about and hear your opinion about is Trump wanting to prevent Comey, your boyfriend, from testifying because of executive privilege.
Which doesn't exist here. And the reason it doesn't exist here is manyfold. The biggest, easiest thing to show you is that Lester Holt interview where Trump declassifies and waives executive privilege when he tells Lester Holt that he spoke to Comey on the phone, that he called Comey one time and Comey called him, and then he tells Lester Holt the content of the conversation, thereby waiving executive privilege on those phone calls, where he wrote in the letter firing Comey, "Thank you for telling me that I'm not under investigation," waived executive privilege with regard to those conversations because he wrote it down, moron that he is. And then when he texted and threatened Comey, or texted, twittered, when Twitler tweeted and said, Comey better hope there are no tapes. He waived executive privilege on the conversations that he had with Comey that may or may not have been recorded. So that's now an open, free, fair discussion to have, because he accused Comey of some criminal activity, and that is never protected under executive privilege. So he's waived the executive privilege. That is why he can't invoke it. That's number 1, 2, and 3. Number 4, okay, is executive privilege only exists if the president was involved in a conversation that, if it became known, would jeopardize national security. That's not the case here.
No.
So there is no claim to be made. He waived it.
Great.
Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much, Randy.
My pleasure. Bye-bye. Have a good weekend and steer clear of the alt-right. By the way, Portland, you should know your alt-right players. Joey Gibson will be there. Yes, Joey. Joey is the Warriors for Freedom. Yes, he's an alt-right guy. He has organized the April 29th event where the killer, Jeremy Christian, showed up. The killer, the one that wrapped himself in the American flag, that stabbed 2 people on the MAX train in Portland. That event was organized by Joey Gibson. Then you've got Tiny Tosi, who, flattened a protester that was protesting against him in downtown's Chapman Square. He will be there. You've got Mr. Baked Alaska. It is possible that Mr. Baked Alaska is actually too offensive to remain in this protest. I'm not sure, but we'll see. He may, he's a very anti-Semitic guy. He tweets anti-Semitic stuff. He's, a Nazi guy. He does a lot of Nazi saluting. He likes to salute the Nazi way. And he may actually be too offensive for them. So I don't know if he's going to be invited or not. Then you've got Kyle Chapman, or he likes to call himself Based Stickman. He attacked protesters at Berkeley in March, armed with a gas mask, usually a shield, and a stick. Look out for him. He says he's just your average Trump supporter. But he's famous for acts of public violence. So, we'll see. And then you've got Based Spartan and Based Trojan. I don't know which moniker he'll be wearing this Sunday. But he was also at the Berkeley rally on the 15th of April. He likes to go bare-chested and wear a Trojan helmet. Let's just hope he does that during sex as well. That would be the only redeeming thing I could think of. And then Mike Tokes, he is a self-described journalist who uses that fake journalism title to publish, I hate to use these words, fake news in order to get funds for himself. So that's who'll be organizing your festive weekend in Portland. Can't speak for the the copy and pasted little thing they're trying to do in Virginia, but I will tell you. Remember, Pittsburgh, 80% voted for Hillary Clinton. So yes, Pittsburgh, not Paris. It's a great chant. It's a really good one for the Democrats. Paul in Woodinville.
Hey, Randy. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, you bastard.
I was just saying to Howard, if any individual or individuals who do portray the attitude that Trump has for America, which is, I always get screwed in these deals. Me first. This chip on your shoulder, victim mentality. It should be all about me. I don't want to cooperate with others.
You know what? You know what's really basic? Let me tell everybody what's really basic. As a person who has negotiated many, many deals in my life, okay? Mm-hmm. You never give up the deal you have until you have another one.
Right.
Because that's your leverage. So the fact that he pulled us out of a 200-country-wide agreement that was voluntarily entered into by all the countries that only pledged to reduce carbon emissions any way that they saw fit. There are no specifics. So let's say they wanted to pollute, or let's say we chose to pollute with coal, but then we would offset it with something else. That's up to us. And it was up to China, and it was up to India, and it was up to Germany, and all the other 200 countries except for Nicaragua and Syria. Why would he give up a deal like that before we had another deal.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that people would have that chip on the shoulder, victim mentality, me first attitude.
But they're
never
losers.
Get anywhere in life, first of all, because everybody
that
hates
is
them.
the losingest strategy I've ever heard for a negotiation.
Right. And then if you got problems with how China's doing or how India's doing, if you don't like that, you don't have any leverage by getting out of the accord. You have your leverage by staying in, like you just said.
Right.
We're now at the same status as two countries who have zero political leverage in the world. Syria and Nicaragua have zero political leverage. So, and you can count the United States in. So that's not going to change. It's not going to change anything economically or get those other countries to do anything, because now you're persona non grata, right?
That's right.
You're out. Now, here's the other thing I want to the deniers. This kind of ties into our running theme here on the show, which is, has anybody ever considered why there's oil in Russia? Russia that's half a frozen, barren wasteland? Well, oil is made from basically long composted plants. And so there used to be a long, long time ago, once upon a time, 5 years ago, there used to be plants there and a lot of water, which is now frozen. Those were the days, what we now refer to as the Devonian period, the coal age, where the climate was very, very warm and CO2 was at about 280 to 300 parts per billion. So what we know happens is, yes, there'll be lots of plants. There won't be any people, because this whole place will be flooded, and all of those. That's why Russia has, and there's oil around the Arctic Circle, because it used to be hot up there.
And check this out. The Arctic Circle, because of global warming, is actually melting. And so what Rex Tillerson, we didn't answer the other part of that guy's question. I just kind of spaced out. But the other part of the guy's question is, Rex Tillerson, the Secretary of State from ExxonMobil, what does he want with Russia? Well, the Arctic Circle is melting, and now drilling for oil in the Arctic Circle is completely possible where it used to be impossible because the ice was too thick. And now it's thinning because of global warming. So Tillerson has entered into an agreement when he was CEO of ExxonMobil with Gazprom, with Russia's state oil company, that equals it's $500 billion, $500 billion deal to drill in the Arctic Circle now that it's possible due to global warming. That's what Rex wants.
So we already know. It's not an argument of what will happen. We already know what the planet's like at 280 parts per billion. It's very warm. We're approaching 400 parts per billion. And I keep hearing these, like my right-wing brother says, well, I learned in sixth grade science that we breathe oxygen and plants breathe carbon dioxide, which I said, brother, have you ever seen a plant with a pair of lungs on it? No, they don't breathe carbon dioxide. They actually absorb it through water, and more is not necessarily better. It's kind of like, if there were more oxygen in the atmosphere, that's not necessarily good for us. That's why.
Here's how I explain it to people. I go, alcohol is fun. Alcohol is good. Too much alcohol, and it poisons you.
Exactly.
Right. And
so
it's the same thing.
Don't do better.
I mean, you could drink all the milk you want. Milk is good. It's good for you. But you drink too much, you get calcium deposits on the bone. You know what I'm saying? Everything in moderation, my friend. Everything. So.
Right. It doesn't make it just better because there's more and more and more. But that's the linear thinking mentality that these anti-scientists have, is that it's just like that. But I don't know where Trump's going with this. I don't know where. Well, I know where he's going with it. He's an idiot. So he had to do something.
He's trying to appeal to his base. The problem is he's not growing it. He's pissing people off.
Right.
So good, let him. It's like I always said to you: if somebody is setting themselves on fire and they're your enemy, walk away.
No, I got one more thing for you. So we keep hearing it, like Trump said, global warming is a hoax. Okay?
I wish his presidency was.
Yeah, well, just a minute. Let me give you what the definition. Do you know what a hoax is, actually? A hoax is a situation, circumstance, condition, or event which is clearly impossible but seems undeniably true. Classic example, a headless horseman following you through the hills of Tarrytown while you ride horseback, right? That's a classic cruel hoax.
Your examples are very elite, I have to say.
Yes.
I like mine. Too much alcohol will kill you. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, Another example could be running into your old Uncle Yussi in a coffee shop with the guy who died 40 years ago and says, "Hey, Randy, remember when I took you fishing when you were 5 years old?" You know, and you go, "Wait, you couldn't be. You're dead." Right? That would be a hoax.
Oh.
On the other hand, a practical joke is something that is quite possible, but seems unbelievable that it's happening, right?
Why are you parsing his ridiculous words? It is, I mean, global warming and renewable fuel and a $19 trillion new marketplace can't be a hoax. It can't be anything.
Exactly.
Can't be a joke, can't be a hoax, can't be, you know, I mean, he's just trying to appeal to his base because, you know, they want to hear that coal jobs are coming back because they want to party like it's 1899. Ain't going to happen. It's just
no, they're not coming back.
No.
I mean, the other thing that's killing the planet, fracking, is why coal's not coming back.
It's too expensive anymore, okay?
Yep.
Renewables are cheaper. They deliver the energy. I mean, this little coal company that's going to hire 70 people in Western PA, they're going to do metallurgic coal mining, meaning, energy to make steel. I mean, that's going to get expensive too. And then we're going to say, oh, why aren't we competitive in the steel industry? Listen, these are old technologies and they're expensive technologies. And there are ways to do things now that are cheaper, more efficient. The new jobs of our time, of this century, the 21st one, is going to be wind, solar, algae, single cell creatures. I mean, honestly, that is the future. They are the past.
For a commercial-free, on-demand, whenever, wherever listening experience, visit RandiRhodes.com for your personal premium podcast today.
Hi, this is Andrew Dietz, and I'm here to talk to you about cynics and creators. I've spent way too much time on Twitter these days, and it's driven a black stake through my generative heart. Since November of last year, I've been suffering a severe spell of cynicism that has me doubting my own efforts at creativity and innovation. Innovation and creativity are democratic, American dream traits. If wielded courageously and honorably, the myth goes, these tools help anyone anywhere to change lives and shape their own fortune. Yeah, but now a divisive political and ethical pall smothers my spirits, and maybe yours too. The itchy woolen blanket of cynicism is spread wide and heavy. Deception and treachery seem to be the tools of choice to gain power and fortune in this country. Now, see what I did in that last paragraph? I talked myself right into a hole. What I'm doing here, this paragraph and the rest, this is my attempt to snap out of it, and maybe snap you out of it too. In the face of the current cultural and political climate in our country, it's more important than ever to advance creativity over cynicism, innovation over ideology. Creativity and innovation thrive on possibility and openness. Cynicism emanates from fear of vulnerability, and it comes from a demand for certainty in the midst of flux. Fighting cynicism breeds more cynicism, but cynicism disappears by itself when met with compassion, curiosity, and continuous forward motion. Here's how I'm at least trying to talk myself out of it. Here are the top 5 mental mantras I'm using to hold cynicism at bay and keep positive productivity on the rails. Number 1, stop ranting. Venting usually breeds more venting. Quit intoxicating myself with social media gossip and outrage regarding people and situations over which I have little or no control, mentioning no names that might rhyme with schmonel schmump. Number 2, assess anger. Anger and cynicism can produce clever ideas, sure, but not necessarily useful, creative, and innovative ones. Don't embrace anger, and don't push it away either. Learn from it. A cynic can chill and dishearten with a single word. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Number 3, choose curiosity. Actively pursue what's new and next with a beginner's mind that allows for possibility and potential. Number 4, nevertheless, persist. Get back up off your butt, and if necessary, put together a self-indulgent statement, like this one, that publicly commits you to a more useful frame of mind. Consistent positive action, even in the midst of deep cynicism, can lift the fog and can produce powerful new ideas, leading to more positive action. And then around it goes again. Number 5, stay open. Be neither optimist nor pessimist, but stay awake and receptive to what's happening, if you can, without judgment, because who knows what directions things will turn. But we do know that they'll indeed turn sooner or later. Cynicism presumes predetermined failure. Optimism latches on to the future at the expense of now. Openness is now, while ignoring neither past nor future. The greater part of truth is always hidden in regions out of reach of cynicism. J.R.R. Tolkien.
Your favorite Progressive Voices shows and your favorite hosts are available anytime, anywhere, on demand. Fully searchable on the PV app, SoundCloud, iTunes, and ProgressiveVoices.com. Randi Rhodes, Nicole Sandler's What's News, The Coffee Cast, Green News Reporter, Pterodactyl, they're all there whenever you want to listen, on demand 24/7. The Corral Cast, Off Kilter, Nurse Talk, Breaking Through, Laura Flanders, dozens more, updated daily and fully searchable on ProgressiveVoices.com and the PV app. Your choice, your schedule, on demand from Progressive Voices.
Hi, we're back, and everything is possible again. Isn't it beautiful? Well, if you want to keep it this way, buy a stinking podcast. Oh yes, you have to buy a stinking podcast. And you get that at RandiRhodes.com, where we're open all day, all night long. RandiRhodes.com. Get your stinking podcast.
To speak to Randi, call now, you bastards. 561-270-3844.
Hello.
Randi Rhodes. Air Force.
Well, the reaction is this is a crazy decision. It's against the facts. It's against science. It's against reality itself. We know we have to decarbonize our future. If we don't, it's a horror. People are going to die. Habitat will be destroyed. Seas will rise. Insects will spread in areas they've never been before. This is not a game. It's not politics to talk to your base. It's humanity and whether it makes it through the 21st century. So California will stay the course. We're already embarked upon a very aggressive and imaginative program to reduce our own global greenhouse gases, and we're going to join with others. I'm going to China. I'm going to meet with high officials there. We'll have a China-California plan. We are going to meet with people representing 1 billion people, 30% of the world's economy. This is our under two coalition. It involves Canada and Mexico, states and provinces in Germany and China and Mexico, all over the place. So yes, what Trump has done, it's wrong. It's going to cause damage. But we will take this negative catalyst and we will mobilize the people of our own state of California, and we will also join with people throughout the world. This is too serious to do anything less than that.
You're lucky, California. You got Jerry Brown. Very lucky. I'm telling you, what the president did yesterday was just crazy. It was absolutely crazy. By the way, did you see the jobs report that came out today? It was crap. 138,000 jobs. This could be the beginning of the Trump economic depression. I mean, we've been in the psychological depression, so now we've got the economic going with it. It's just unbelievable. But here, the thing that really, really strikes me about this is how pandering. I mean, he said he went with his gut. The president of the United States went with that bloated, foul, full of nasty crap gut of his to make this decision, and ultimately all he did was piss people off. And, that's not a good thing to have in a president. He said, oh, well, this is what I promised my voters. You also promised your voters you wouldn't cut Medicaid. You also promised your voters you would repeal and replace Obamacare with something fantastic, with, something really great, something cheaper and better. Really, I mean, this guy is just, he's a lunatic. All he was doing was appealing to his base, and he's hoping that they don't notice that this does not bring back big coal, which, by the way, has lost 60,000 jobs due to the bridge fuel of natural gas, due to the renewable fuel of solar and wind fuels, I should say. So it's never coming back because it isn't economically wise, feasible. Never mind the carbon. Never mind the what it does to the air. Never mind what it does to the sea. Never mind what it does. I mean, but Mar-a-Lago, I got news for you. That freaking ugly, mansion of his. It's right at zero sea level. I mean, it's right. We are in Florida. We are at zero sea level. If the sea rises, Mar-a-Lago is just some buried under the sea Atlantis with a lot of gold gilt. That's it. It's just unbelievable. But, I don't know why he's looking to solidify his base. Their heads are already full of rocks. How much more solid can their brains get when it comes to Trump? It's sad. It really is. But now we're isolated on the world stage, and we have the world's worst performer center stage. He asked yesterday, how much of these deals do we have to, how many of these bad deals do we have to enter into before the world starts laughing at us? The world started laughing at us the day that you were sworn in and started complaining about the size of your crowds. That's the day the world started laughing. And the day that the world started crying for us was the day you went to the CIA and stood in front of the wall of fallen heroes and talked about the size of your crowds. I mean, honest to God. If you are living in a decaying, old, industrial region and you find yourself continuing to like this man, move to France now. Move to California. Move to Ohio. Move to where the jobs are. Train yourself to become a turbine technician. It's the #1 job in America right now. You know what the second worst job in America is right now? Broadcaster. Second worst. Yeah. Either that or we're now alone in the world next to Nicaragua and Syria. Now, Nicaragua, the reason why they're not part of it is they wanted a better deal, a binding deal. They wanted it stronger and greener. That's why. That's why they opted out. Syria, we're all going to end up in Syria, or at least these industrial states will. You know what I mean? Listen, what a bizarre week again. And next week, we're all going to live. Thursday morning, 9 a.m., my boyfriend Comey will testify. What will I wear? Robert in Naples.
Hey, Randy, thank you for taking my call.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Where to begin? All right, this... and he gives this, he wants out of the Paris peace accord, or not peace accord, the Paris deal. The next headline should have been from Europe saying, to stay current with to respect the contract, that we're going to have to now pull out of, South Carolina, all these states that don't want to go to this accord, and start moving these people, the Volkswagens, the BMWs, the Mercedes, the Toyotas, all these companies are in these right-to-work states. They're going to have to be compliant, they're going to have to be moved to California, New York, New Jersey, states that will accept this accord. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm tongue-tied, I'm sorry.
I don't know what you're talking about. There, the whole thing was voluntary. There were no binding anything on anybody. It was just an agreement between 200 countries to lower their carbon footprint in any manner they deemed appropriate. It was just a pact to work together. It was to create new markets for renewable fuel. It was to expand the acceptance. It was to get governments to be interested in investing in renewables. So now what I'm saying to you is, instead of America investing in America in this $19 trillion new marketplace, he's pulled out of that investment. And so if Germany comes in, or if France comes in, or if China comes in with products or investment, they will own the patents instead of the United States.
Right.
That's why it's so stupid.
I'll give you you know what I'm thinking of? I grew up in Rochester, New York, home of Kodak, Eastman Kodak. And in 1970-something, they came up, the research and development came up and said, you know what, we got this digital camera. I go, what's this? It records images on a magnet strip. We sell film. We don't need this. Get rid of it. And that's, you know what this is? This is the money behind oil, that they don't want to see that oil in the ground because they look at that as money that they didn't spend. And this is the oil industry.
The only part of the oil industry that feels this way is Russia. So this is basically their foreign policy, because all they have is oil.
Yeah, but they signed up. They're in. They didn't back out. They didn't walk away. They're in. They're in.
Yeah, but I just want everybody to know that being in isn't anything, as far as it's just a pact. Russia can do whatever it wants to do to reduce its carbon footprint. That's
right.
Whatever. India can do whatever it wants. China could do. We could have done whatever we wanted. Okay.
But there's repercussions. Randy, there's repercussions if you don't abide. Like if I don't abide, I can't bring my product to marketplace.
No, there were no repercussions. This was not a binding contract. This was not a binding anything. It was just an agreement that the world would try. There were no repercussions. There were no sanctions. There were no fines. It was just an agreement that was worked between 200 countries to promote the investment in their own backyards to reducing their carbon footprints in any manner they deemed appropriate for their economy. It was looking to create a $19 trillion global marketplace for renewable fuels and technologies, turbines and hydropower and wind farms and whatever. That's all it was. There were no repercussions. There was no sanctions. There were no fine. No, this was all to create a global marketplace.
But basically, he could go to his people, like you said, and say, "Look what I did! I took away one of Obama's achievements.
Right?
Look how smart I am."
Okay. I don't think people understand that this was just a voluntary agreement. It's a non-binding agreement, but it actually had the effect of making countries want to invest in renewable fuels. That's what it was. Kenny in Yonkers, New York.
How you doing, Randy?
Hey.
Hey, I want to ask you, first of all, if you ask me, in my opinion, the Russians are behind this at least 98%. All right, and I think they felt that things were going to come out, but not as quickly as they have come out. But take, for instance, the other day, you were talking about they want to get Kushner in front of the committee, in front of the one of the hearings next week, and they want to talk to him. And he's saying that everything was about the campaign, and they're stepping right on his toes and saying, no, it was a personal matter and this, that, Why are they throwing people under the bus left and right?
Because what they wanted were the sanctions removed, okay? Because Russia is a failed economic plan. It is a state that is not doing anything that even comes close to realizing their potential because of sanctions. And they wanted those sanctions removed. And they're frustrated because Trump was he's a clown car of a cover-up. I mean, it's a mess. And so what they're doing is they're saying, hey, Jared wants us to say, wants he opened a back channel to talk about Syria. Bullcrap. He met with, Gorkov at the bank because he needed money. And we're going to leak all this stuff until you get these sanctions off. You find a way. Yep. You do it. Or we're going to sit there and say, yeah, there were Russian fingerprints on the hacking of the U.S. election. We're going to deny that it came from Putin, even though 17 of our intelligence agencies said Putin ordered it. But, now he's starting to float these ideas. Well, yeah, it could have come from Russia. And, well, no, Jared's idea that it was about, Syria, that's not true. Jared was a private businessman coming to our bank asking for money. Well, wasn't your bank under U.S. sanctions? So what do sanctions mean to Jared Kushner? Yeah, well, that's what Jared's going to have to figure out. We will sacrifice your son-in-law if you don't get these sanctions removed.
Yep. Also, one other thing. Since we've given away most of the jobs that we were creating in the last 10 or 12 years or whatever it's been, what's going to happen now when we go to borrow money from these countries that we've just totally dissed? When it comes time for us to start begging to repay the debt that we owe them.
Yeah.
No, what's going to, what do you think is going to happen? You think anybody's going to have any mercy, or, what's the deal here?
You mean what happens if China calls in our loans?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Well, we're doomed.
Yeah.
We're doomed.
All right.
We live in an interconnected world. It's a fact. The world is connected. It is connected by trade. It is connected by banking. It is connected by media. It is connected by the internets. The world is interconnected. And what this president decided to do to appease these rock-headed base people is tell them, we're not going to connect to the rest of the world. We're going to be America in isolation. And there are people out there that love the idea, but they don't realize that means we're alone. We're alone in the world. That means no help fighting our freaking wars that we love to start. That means no financial help when we go broke. That means banking lanes are cut off. Loans are cut off. Debt can be called in. They can literally crash our country. He's an idiot to isolate us like this at this point. And like I said, if he had a better deal for us, he should have entered into it before he broke the deals that we already had. You never do that. You never take a job until you have a job. And then you don't negotiate the salary for the new job until you hear the last offer from the last job. I mean, this is like basic 101 business stuff. Everybody knows that. Are you more valuable when you're working and you have skills that another company wants? Or are you better off going in saying, I've been unemployed for 6 years and I really need a job? Which is better for you? Which do you think is going to have a better result? Which posture do you want to have? Well, we had a choice, and he chose to make us unemployed and then go look for a job. That's stupid.
Clear for takeoff. Randi Rhodes Air Force. Air Force. RandiRhodes.com.
Herky jerky. Oh, God, I love herky jerky. And you know what? You asked for something and they did it all for you. There are now 4 new flavors: original beef, spicy beef, teriyaki beef, barbecue beef, and they're nitrate and preservative free. And they come in resealable 14-ounce bags. You asked for resealable bags. You asked for nitrate and preservative free. And you asked for new beef flavors. You got it all 3. These are tender small strips. I love these. But I do also love the existing mild and hot beef jerky. That's the initial love affair that I had with herky jerky. And those are still available for customers who prefer that style. But these 4 new flavors, the original beef, the spicy beef, the teriyaki beef, and the barbecue, they're delicious too. And they are great Father's Day gifts. And for the month of June, $5 off every pack of the new beef jerky. The whole month of June, just use promo code BEEF. Go to herkyjerky.com now and give Dad something great for Father's Day.
My first paid acting role was on stage in the world premiere of Angry Fags by Topher Payne. Isn't that a great title? Welcome to She Persisted from the Progressive Voices Network. I'm Melissa Carter. Scared, humbled, excited, proud, and relieved best describe the experience. But there are several lessons that I learned from being a thespian. First, be comfortable with your body. One element of theater that was not explained to me beforehand is that you all change in front of each other in a tiny space. There is not time to run to a private bathroom every time you have to switch into the next outfit. Concentrating on insecurities during a performance would interfere with the role, and it serves no purpose. So So don't worry about what you can't change. Just wear good underwear. Second, don't just learn your own lines. My biggest fear was, how can I possibly learn so many lines? The advice I was given was to concentrate on learning the story, and the lines would come. The repetition of rehearsal after rehearsal takes care of teaching you the lines. But if you only learn your lines, you have done your fellow cast members a disservice. There is a trust among actors that only comes when they know they are acting with someone who has their back and can help gloss it over if someone misses a line or a cue. Third, there is always tomorrow night. When completed, Angry Fags was performed 18 times in front of an audience, and in that duration, actors have been sick, hurt, tired, menstrual, and hungover. Some nights were better than others, but when someone stumbled, we reminded each other that there was always tomorrow night to take another swing. Fourth, the funniest moments happen backstage. You have to spend time together auditioning, doing table reads, blocking, rehearsing lines, and training for fight scenes. And time spent in the spotlight isn't the most important part. It's the relationships you build backstage that truly make you who you are. Several people have asked me if I would ever act again. Topher all but dragged me into this role, but after all I learned, the answer is, of course, yes. This has been She Persisted from the Progressive Voices Network. I'm Melissa Carter.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844.
561-270-3844. Who's a miner? Raise your hand. You don't look like a miner. A lot of miners. All right, get ready to go to work. We will unleash the power of American energy, including shale, oil, natural gas, and clean coal. We're going to put our miners back to work. Lifting the restrictions on oil, on shale, on natural gas, and on clean, very clean coal. We're going to put the miners back to work. The miners go back to work.
He's such a freaking liar. Don't you understand? Don't you understand that renewables have made coal expensive, like super expensive? And it's not viable. And I get that there's a part of this country that really needs a little love and attention, and come nestle in my armpit, or, move the hell to California, where there's going to be an entire China, Los Angeles, China, California connection to the jobs of the future. When I used to live in the South, I've lived everywhere. I've lived in Texas too many times. I've lived in Ohio, Southern Ohio. I've lived in Alabama, Mississippi, all these places. And every time I would live there, every time I would have to move to get, because wherever the work was, that's where I went. I don't know why people don't do that, but wherever the work was, that's where I moved. And every time I would move, like if there was a job in Milwaukee, I would think, oh, it's modern. This is great. But then I'd move back to the South, and it would be, 1968 or 58 all over again. Why don't people want to get into the future? That's the question for the Trump supporters. Why are they so afraid of the future? Why are they so terrified of the 21st century? Why do they long for the 19th century? Not even the 20th. They weren't that thrilled with the 20th. Not that happy with it. They want the 19th. If you can answer that, then you understand who they are. Mary Ellen in Port St. Lucie, Florida.
Hi, Randi.
Hi.
And hi, chat room. It's Rihanna. Randi, I've been watching you forever, and I sponsor, and I love you, and I thank you so much for the work you do. And like you, I'm a New Yorker, but I've been in Florida for 10 years.
Yes, it's the 6th borough is what it is down here.
It's a whole new world down here. I haven't adjusted. But two things, briefly on climate. One of the worst things we have to consider is the flooding. In New York itself, Long Island, which is where I lived most of my life, we're losing a foot of sea level every year. The beaches are just eroding. The last time I was up there was flooding up to my sister's, which is north of Poughkeepsie, which is like 120 miles north. And then visiting my daughter in Albany, we couldn't do anything because there was major flooding. Roads were closed down. Schools were closed down. The Hudson couldn't be used to tour the Capitol, which Florida, now we hit hurricane season, yay, as of yesterday. So that's something people need to consider.
Oh, you know what scares me is what will his response be to a hurricane?
There's no FEMA. There's no NOAA anymore.
It's so frightening to me because, living down here in Hurricane Alley and all the people that live in the Gulf and, have experienced, and even now they're going up the coast, Superstorm Sandy being, one of those. What is his response going to be to a natural disaster? I mean, he is so chaotic. He's such a clown. He's so disorganized. His team isn't in I mean, you have no one at the State Department. You have no one at FEMA. You have no scientists, no technologists. He's getting rid of, NOAA, the which is early warning system. I mean,
right.
What
in the ER are doctors and everyone there. We were brought in like a day or so early. It was depending on when they first announced it. And we had to stay there for days at a time, which the first one was delayed. It just got stalled out in the sea. So we were there like 2 days before we even got the signs of the hurricane coming. And that's what we relied on, was to see when we were going to hit the center, because that would be a quiet period. And the ambulances can't run if it's over 35 miles an hour. They were stopped dead. And we had so much help after at the hospital that there was a tent set up. There were volunteer doctors that were coming in. They were there for like 3 months to help us. But so I'm really, the last flood that was mentioned, it was briefly in the news, wiped out. He did no help to that. So I think we're on our own.
I do too. He responds to nothing. I mean, you have you've got Good Samaritans stabbed on a train, and he doesn't say anything. You know that this week alone, this is really sick. This week alone, there were 2 nooses found at the Smithsonian Institute for African American History and Culture. 2 nooses. Do you hear him saying anything about this? LeBron James, his house was just spray painted with, disgusting words. And, do you hear anything from this president that, No. And I just can't even imagine what his response would or would not be.
I didn't even know there were
I remember Katrina. I remember Bush looking out of the window when Katrina happened, and that was about all we got out of him. And I remember his daddy, too, back in 1992 is when I first moved to Florida, and we had Hurricane Andrew, and I was working down at a radio station in Miami, and I mean, we were pretty much doing everything on our own to get diapers and to, and finally the National Guard was called. Finally, our governor called in the National Guard and set up camps and tents with doctors and medical help because Bush did nothing. Nothing. I mean, these people are like, time to thin the herd.
But at least we had FEMA, and I hate the Bushes, but our last governor had helped a lot. Our insurance had tripled, and Jeb stomped that down, which we don't have that again to rely on. But my other major concern, being an ER nurse, I met so many immigrants, just so many people that kind of travel, they move up the coast, and they pick our fruit and vegetables. And I remember even being in high school, now we're going back to the 70s, they showed a film with Walter Cronkite on immigrants working in the fields that are migrant workers. They get chemicals sprayed over them. They're working 12, 14 hours a day. They have to defecate in the fields. That's the food we're eating. Now they're kicking these people out of the country. They've used them like Hitler used the Jews. They're putting them in prisons. He's building another prison in Texas for them. There are people that are reporting they're there in 6 months and getting treated terribly. One woman just tried to commit suicide because she was getting so depressed in the prisons.
Well, this is why America can't have racist presidents anymore. Okay, we've lived through 300-400 years. We've lived through 200 years of some crap. Okay, and then we make strides, we move forward, it takes forever, move forward. And then you get a Republican president and the whole civil rights division is just wiped out. And, people who are here under protected status, too bad for you, we're deporting you. You cannot have a racist president in the 21st century. This is the whole thing. They want these people who keep electing these maniacs do it because they miss the 1800s. They miss the 19th century. They miss being able to exploit people.
They're ignorant. They gave him so
They're
much
not
media.
ignorant. They are scared.
Oh, yeah, they're hateful.
They're
and
scared.
They're frightful, right.
They're scared. They're terrified.
They make immigrants the thing to be afraid of. They're
no,
taking
don't
their
you get
job.
it? Don't you get it? Look, you're white, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you white?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yes.
Obviously I'm pasty white. White people of good faith, of good conscience, understand we have a privilege just by virtue of being born this color. We walk through this planet, we walk through this country knowing certain things about ourselves, that we can drive a car at night, no matter what car we want, in any neighborhood, and nobody's going to bother. The people who are terrified that that's going to go away because the people that they have discriminated against and treated horribly and exploited and imported and beat, they are going to be the majority. And they think that those people are the same full of revenge types that they are. And they're wrong. And if they would just get to know their neighbors, they would understand nobody wants revenge. Everybody just wants to get ahead. But they're terrified. They're really scared because they know what they've done was wrong and brutal and ugly and evil. And they're scared. That's what drives them. Trust me. And that's why I keep saying, if you understand why people want to go back to the 19th century, if you understand why these people voted for Trump, if you understand what Trump was doing when he was saying Mexicans are rapists, when he was saying, oh no, black lives don't matter, blue lives, he was appealing to the fear in those people that someday, very soon, they might be a minority in this country. And they are terrified that the people that they brutalized will want their pound of flesh, except they don't. Jennifer in Sacramento.
Hi, Randy.
Hi.
I've been wondering why the Republicans have been putting party above country. And you reminded me the other day that the Russians not only hacked the Democrats and the voter rolls, but they also hacked the GOP.
They sure did.
But we haven't seen any result of that.
That's right.
Or have we? So what I'm kind of thinking is they have intel on the Republicans, the head of the Republicans, Mitch McConnell, Ryan, Sessions, Nunez. They have all this information on them, and that's what's preventing them from doing anything about Trump.
Well, it's a fabulous theory. I mean, it makes nothing but sense. I can't show you anything to say that that's true. But the idea that Russians did hack the GOP is known. The idea that they hacked voter registration rolls is known. It's not talked about all that much. The idea that they hacked the DNC is obviously known. So the question then is, why did they only release the Democrats' emails?
Well, see,
right?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know. And so that's as far as I can go because that's all I have.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
What about, yes, but then what about this? The Putin wants Trump out of being the head of the world, so to speak. And then this way, Putin is clear to possibly invade Europe. Now, I'm going a little far on this, but Trump also basically indicated that he wouldn't honor the NATO deal.
Yes.
And I mean, that's what I'm sort of putting these things together. It feels awful.
Good.
But that's what I'm starting to come up with.
Yes, and we're doing here is orienting ourselves to what is.
Right.
That's it. And these things happened, and now we're trying to make sense of why. Now, I will tell you that the news of the day is that in the early weeks of the Trump administration, people in the Obama administration, and the State Department especially, were freaking out that the Trump administration officials were developing all these proposals to lift the sanctions on Russia.
Right.
And no one could understand why he would reward Russia for hacking into the GOP, into the DNC, into the voter rolls. And now we kind of know that's what Putin wanted.
Well, it's the reward for getting to be president.
And the first sign that they had to send, apparently, to Putin that they would play was rewriting the Republican platform to deny Ukraine lethal weapons to defend themselves against the invasion by Russia. And so they did do that to send a signal to Moscow, hey, we're down with this. And then he goes to the NATO summit. And why do you think he left out the Article 5 commitment, meaning we're all for one and one for all? The only time Article 5's ever been invoked was after 9/11, and all these countries came and fought with us, which more than paid for itself. But why wouldn't he do it? That was another signal to Vlad that NATO is going to be obsolete. NATO was dead. NATO wasn't anything he would participate in. Then you have, the last part of it, the sanctions, and he can't do anything about it. And I think Putin's getting very frustrated, and so he's starting to leak a little bit. And he's starting to say things like, oh, Jared went to the banker for money. He didn't go to talk about Syria. He went for money, which would be illegal. He's starting to, say, okay, well, Russia's fingerprints may have been on the hacking, but, it was just some patriotic Russians. Wasn't the government.
Well, would maybe then giving back these embassies back to
that too.
Or these, yes, isn't that part of Trump saying, okay, stop it? Stop leaking out this possible information, this blackmail information you have?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Here's my gift to you to stop.
Here's my gift to you. You can have your compound in New York, and you can have your other. These things. I just counted the chimneys to see how lavish it was. And so, there was like 14 fireplaces in one of these compounds that, and this is who Obama kicked out of the country. 35 spies living in these compounds. And we took them. And that's what I'm talking about. Russia wants their compounds back, and Trump is saying, you can have your compounds back. I can't do much on the sanctions right now. And they're getting frustrated. So they're starting to say, yeah, Russia hacked. Wasn't the government, but yeah, we did. It's an amazing thing to have a president loyal to the freaking oligarch to Vladimir Putin. It's unbelievable to watch.
It is. And I just want to thank you. Today, I've been listening to 3 podcasts in a row.
Oh, wow.
So I really felt like, I love listening to you. So I really felt like I was getting all the dots connected all in one day. And I just want to thank you. I love my podcast. And
I always
just keep up the good work.
I always wondered if I was binge-worthy.
Oh, you are total binge-worthy.
Really? Wow.
I love binging you.
Never knew. All right, thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right.
All right.
Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thanks, bye. I'm binge-worthy, everybody. I'm binge-worthy. I've made it into the 21st century in at least a small way. Yay! Buy a stinking podcast. I'm binge-worthy.
For a commercial-free, on-demand, whenever, wherever listening experience, visit randyrhodes.com for your personal premium podcast today.
Gold's on sale. Oh, yes, it is. Gold is priced well below its historic highs. You know the old investor saying, buy low, sell high? Well, stocks, they're selling at an all-time high. So now is a really, really great time to add a little gold to your portfolio. And all you got to do, call my friends at ITM Trading today at 1-888-OWN-GOLD and ask them for a free gold kit. Just learn about the different golden opportunities that are available through ITM Trading. They've helped tens of thousands of people navigate the precious metals market, and they have the best reputation in the industry. It is where I buy my gold, and I do buy gold. ITM Trading has a wide range of gold and silver products that have been created by mints located around the world. The ordering process, super quick, very easy. Products are securely delivered to your home or office, and a 100% guarantee is offered that all the products are 100% authentic. Now, if you've been thinking about buying gold, this is the perfect time. It's on sale. Gold is on sale, but with everything going on in the economy, who knows for how long? Call 1-888-OWN-GOLD, 1-888-OWN-GOLD.
I'm David Pakman, host of The David Pakman Show on the Progressive Voices channel. Check out this clip from my show.
If there was ever a sign that the Trump-Russia scandal was getting even more serious,
It is that Donald Trump is personally lawyering up. Donald Trump has now personally retained a lawyer, Mark Kasowitz, to represent him directly in the various investigations that are going on related to Russian interference and/or collusion in the 2016 election. Kasowitz has known Trump for decades, has represented Donald Trump in the past. The White House was asked about this reported hire and had no comment. Who do you call for this, right? I mean, how many attorneys are experienced in defending presidents from allegations of colluding with foreign non-friendly nations to seize the White House? I get that the point of hiring Mark Kasowitz is that he's worked with Trump for a long time. It's not like when you're charged with, I don't know, drinking and driving, and there's attorneys who have handled hundreds and hundreds of drinking and driving cases. This is a very, very niche area. And I think really, Pat, this is more about Trump knows this guy and presumably trusts this guy rather than this guy's an expert in this type of thing.
It's hard to become an expert on this type of thing unless you also worked with Nixon and Clinton, I guess. But I think just the fact that Trump is lawyering up doesn't necessarily mean he's guilty. Even if you're innocent, you'd want a lawyer. It
tells us that the fireworks could only just be beginning. So the important thing is that there is this office of the White House counsel. When things start getting difficult, presidents will go outside to get personal attorneys. Bill Clinton did this. As Pat mentioned, Nixon, Clinton. Clinton was impeached, as you may recall, not removed from office as a result of that impeachment, and he had a personal lawyer. As always with Trump, there is either a double standard or a conflict of interest not far from the story, and that's the case here. As reported by Rachel Maddow last night, Donald Trump's lawyer, I mean, it's you know where I'm going with this, Pat. Yeah. Donald Trump's lawyer that he is retaining to help him with the Trump-Russia scandal, Mark Kasowitz, is himself connected to Russia. Mark Kasowitz was recently named a lead attorney in a federal civil lawsuit against Sberbank, which is a bank that is majority owned by none other than the Russian government. He hired a lawyer who is connected to Russia to defend him against allegations, potentially criminal allegations of collusion with Russia.
And until a few hours ago, it was reported that a possible replacement for FBI Director James Comey would be Joe Lieberman. And initially they thought there would be some bipartisan support there because Lieberman was a longtime Democrat, of course, ran with Al Gore in 2000, and that maybe he would get Republican support as well because he supported the Iraq War and he endorsed John McCain in 2008. But if you get this, Joe Lieberman worked at the same law firm as Trump's lawyer. So there would be a clear conflict of interest, and I think that was just a bridge too far.
Can you imagine if you've got Trump being defended against, within the context of the FBI's Trump-Russia investigation, and then you've got a guy from the exact same law firm as his attorney, at least somewhat involved in that investigation, along with Special Prosecutor Robert Mueller? Not going to happen. And I think we're back to the drawing board. Trump last week was saying any day now I'm going to tell you who the new FBI director is going to be. Yeah. And now, reportedly, are they completely back to the drawing board on that?
Well, it's not going to be Texas Senator John Cornyn. It's not going to be Joe Lieberman. So, yeah, they've hit the reset button on that one.
Yeah, yet another. And this is a trend we've seen with Trump, just taking forever to hire people that need to be hired for open positions. And this is at the highest levels, and also, hundreds and thousands of people at lower levels of government. Just a very, very strange thing. Just the logistics of the White House are just as bad as the optics of the White House. You've been listening to part of the David Pakman Show on the Progressive Voices channel. For full audio and video podcasts, interviews, and more, go to davidpakman.com and check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The David Pakman Show.
The Randi Rhodes Air Force. The Randi Rhodes Show is live on RandiRhodes.com and the free Progressive Voices app for Android and iOS. Visit the App Store or ProgressiveVoices.com now.
Oh, and buy some Herky jerky too while you're at it. They have these new beef flavors. And you guys asked them to make nitrate and preservative free. Boy, you're so picky. You asked them to make the jerky nitrate and preservative free and to put it in resealable bags and to make some more beef flavors for you. And they did all those three things. So just go to herkyjerky.com and try the new jerky. I like the old jerky, but the new jerky is delicious. We've been eating it all week. It's just freaking amazing. I just have the sample size packs, but he put them in really big packs. These are the little ones. This little one here, so you got a new logo and everything. This is the barbecue. But, very delicious. So, Deborah in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Hello, Randy.
Hello, Deborah.
Hey, I wanted to ask a question of you. I wondered if you had a chance to read an article that was in Political a couple of days ago.
Which one?
Title of it is Russia Escalates Spy Games After Years of U.S. Neglect.
No.
And I didn't read the whole article because I actually got frightened while I was reading it. They were talking about how for the last 15 years, FBI has not monitored the Russians as much. And so this year, they've been finding the Russian agents have been kind of going off the radar. And then when they find them in strange places, like in the middle of the desert or driving around in circles in Kansas. And they found out that what they were doing is mapping our telecom lines.
Oh, God.
And they're really stepping up their spy game, basically, was...
Well, this is what I keep telling. This is what I keep telling people who, are so pro-Russia now. All of a sudden, Americans who, who would have, put people to death for being a Russian communist or a Russian spy, and now all of a sudden they love Russia. They just love, and what kills me is, do they think that Russia is done with us? Do they think that Russia's done spying now that Trump is president? That's all they wanted. They got that, and now they're done. No, they're not done. The Republicans are next. If Trump doesn't produce what Vlad had in mind, then the Republicans are next to be hacked. Maybe in the 2018 election. I mean, does everybody think that they just went, okay, game over? We're good now. We're good now. This is crazy.
I'm thinking it's worse than that. I really do. I mean, think about it. If somebody dropped a bomb on us, would we turn around and have secret meetings with them and take them into the Oval Office? No. And what they did to us, I mean, they disenfranchised a whole lot of people. I mean, I know people say that Hillary lost for various reasons, blah, blah, blah. But the bottom line is they've created so much dissension, and they've got us all fighting, and they've got him just taking apart our government. And this is horrible. And the Republican Party, I mean, whenever somebody hits them, they hit somebody else. They hit the wrong person back. I mean, that's been their history. But this is a whole different ball game. And I just think it's so scary. So please, if you get a chance, I would love to get your take on it next week if you could read that Political article.
Do you remember who wrote it or no?
Let's see here. Allie Watkins.
Okay, that helps. Thank you. I'll go get it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a great weekend.
Oh, you too. You too, Deborah. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Rick in Los Angeles.
Randy, are you ready for some breaking news?
Okay.
According to Andy Borowitz, Trump is now negotiating a new climate treaty with a different planet because the Earth is such a loser.
Yes, Borowitz. I saw him call. He said that Trump called Earth a loser. I tweeted out last night that Trump knows all the planets. He knows the best planets, and Earth isn't even the biggest.
Right. And there's many more planets in the solar system better than the Earth,
Right. I think today's homework is called I know all the best planets. Earth is, I know all the best planets. I know the biggest planet. I know all the planets. I know all the best planets. And Earth isn't even the biggest. Yeah.
This is so ridiculous. I mean,
he's ridiculous. He's a ridiculous person.
Yeah,
he's a reality TV star is what he is. I mean, and he's in a
guy's like incompetent.
When you see real businesses, okay, you see Tesla and SpaceX, and you see General Election and Disney, and even Facebook and Twitter and Square and Google and Goldman Sachs and Apple and Amazon and Murray Energy and Uber and IBM and Shell and Peabody Energy and Cargill. Those are real companies. Those are real serious business entities, okay? They're not people. They're just business entities. But they're huge. They're global. And we're talking about some guy who ran a boutique business that bankrupted 6 casinos. When does the casino ever lose?
Only Trump can do that.
I mean, it was
he alone can do that, Randy. Right?
It's his singular gift to a man is that the House finally lost. I mean, every degenerate gambler in the world knows the casino never loses unless it's Trump's. So, when you look at all these people who really run, amazing businesses in every walk of life, from media to the internet to the space to renewable fuels to Shell and oil and gas. And they all said this man is out of his mind. He just ceded, the leader of the free world just ceded America's place in the world to China, to India, to Europe.
Well, there's a silver lining in that, though, Randy. The moron in chief, as a result of backing out of the Paris Accord, has now rejuvenated the whale oil, horse and buggy, and coal industry.
Yes,
think of all the jobs that'll be created from that.
Please, the people in Alaska, they're going to be put to work making my whalebone corsets again.
Exactly.
Yeah, very exciting.
Oh, geez, I tell you. Well, we live in very strange times, and all I can say is thank God for states like California, New York, and the progressive states. I think we're going to maybe be able to pull this out despite Trump in Washington and the obstructionism of Washington.
Absolutely. But you know what's really sad is it's going to matter where you live now, more than ever. More than ever, because those places that were coal mining, states like West Virginia, Kentucky, Southern Ohio, Western Pennsylvania, those places are going to now be left out of what could have been a $19 trillion brand new marketplace with an investment in retraining them to be part of it, retraining them to be, turbine technicians, factories opening, to make, the parts for, hydropower. I mean, they're just going to be left out. Nobody's going to want to go there. Nobody is going to, first of all, what companies look at first when they locate is the population for
capital,
for
education.
Yes, for whether or not they can hire there.
Yep.
And they can't, so it's sad. It's really sad. He's just condemned them to, continual living in the 1900s.
District 12, Randy. What can we say, right?
What's the movie, Howard? What's the movie you want me to watch all the time? It's about apartheid, but it's really a horror movie. Howard, what's that movie that you can't ever get me to watch? He's talking District 12.
Is that District 9?
Yeah,
about
District,
the aliens?
Yes, District 9.
The district with the aliens in it? Yeah, that's a good one, Randy.
Yeah, I can't make myself. I'll watch Porky's before I watch that.
All right. Well, it's time for beer o'clock for you almost, so you have a great weekend,
Thank
Randy.
you. Thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to this one. Where are we? Eddie? Is this Eddie? Or is this Brother David? Brother David.
We can be kind. We can take care of each other. We can remember that deep down inside, we all need the same thing. And maybe we'll find, if we are there for each other, that together we'll weather whatever tomorrow may bring. We are all part of the negative press covfefe now. Ask your doctor if covfefe is right for you.
That was my favorite one.
Yeah, mine too.
That was my
funny. Jim never has a second covfefe at home. I shout out to the chat room. You know the drill. Get people who don't to listen and like and subscribe and buy a stinking podcast.
Yes, you really do need to get a little more. I mean, we have like more than what? It's like 1,500,000 views. But there's only like less than 17,000 subscribers. That's not going to do it. Okay, it's just not going to do it. So,
why I'm pushing for it, sister.
The other thing is to follow me on Twitter at Randi Rhodes, which is very self-explanatory.
I always put that in my when I retweet the show to my Crackbook page.
We got, I think we added like 400 followers this week, but I need to keep doing that every week.
Oh, it's paresis, Randy. I'm convinced of it. He has paresis. I think somewhere along the line.
I think it's syphilis.
That's it. Well, that's the disease that syphilis turns into brain damage. And even if the syphilis is treated, it's just like the chickenpox, herpes, Bell's palsy connection.
It lives
if you
forever.
are genetically it lives forever. And if that's what Tinklegate could be. and that's why she's spending weekends away from the White House, I'm sure, because he's exhibiting all the signs of it.
A 70-year-old syphilitic man is our president. Ew.
Yeah, exactly.
Ew.
Ronald Dump, you have meddled with the primal forces of Capethe, and you must atone. Anyway, sister, I love you always.
Me too, you. Shauna in Santa Paula, California.
Hey. How you doing, Randy?
Good.
Happy Friday, you
Happy
bastard.
Friday, you bastard.
Well, I'll tell you, it's great to see you sharing your show, your break time with other Progressive Voices radio talk show hosts. That's very generous of you.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. I wanted to ask you, did you see the blinking red lights in the White House when Trump got back from his trip?
Wasn't that an ambulance across the street?
That's what they tried to say.
Oh, that's what they tried to say. What was it? Here we go.
If you look at it, you won't see any red lights on the outside of the building.
Oh, welcome to Roswell, everybody. 9/11 truthers. Here we go.
So I have a couple of conspiracy theories. Number one, it could be his Satan's tanning room where he gets his orange complexion from. It could be his sunroom.
That is the worst spray tan I have ever seen in my life.
I'm telling you, this was like a red flashing emergency beacon. So the other, it could be a call for help. It could be his signaling for help. The flashing red light. Send in the rescue workers if he needs help.
Okay.
Or it could be possibly a third could be he's demanding loyalty from his staffers, and they have to do the Trump.
Who are the demons that live in Scavullo's ninth circle of hell?
Right.
Yeah.
And they have to come to his red disco room of hell.
Where he still dances around in a shirt open to his navel with a Coke spoon around his neck, longing for the loving arms of Roy Cohn. Okay. All right.
Demanding the loyalty dance.
The loyalty dance. All right, you guys. Let me just say hello and goodbye to Eddie. Eddie, hello, goodbye.
Hello, goodbye. It could also be arsenic poisoning from his hairpiece. Right?
You guys are the best. Thank you. Next week's going to be amazing, especially next Thursday. Don't forget, you can go to my Facebook page, Randi Rhodes, The Randi Rhodes Show, right? Because there's two of them. But the show has all the March for Freedoms. You just click on the events and you can go. I suggest we all do something this weekend about our freedom. And marching it's healthy, it's good, it's clean fun. God bless you, Portland. I know what you're in for this weekend. And then we'll regroup and meet you back here on Monday. Thank you. Buy a stinking podcast. We love you. Buy a stinking podcast. Go to randyrhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.